Nice. Nice. Yo, the locale emulator I use is adding support to Windows 11. Damn. That's more than Microsoft is doing for their own operating system. That's impressive. All right. Ready to start. Take the case. Baba bing, baba boom. The episode 3, Magician's Puppet Show. A mysterious calling card has been sent to a Myoden temple, giving notice of a theft. The Scarlet Devil Station's finest were on the scene to foil the crime, but to no avail. Suspicion fell on Alice Margatroyd, but was she always this small? There's the rundown. Alright. That's the rundown. Now we're going to start this. We're going to do the first part of this case. First investigation, first court day. And then we're going to stop. I'm really looking forward to this because Alice looks adorable, and I want to see if Shanghai is also shrunk down. Because the dolls, the dolls are adorable anyway. Alright, let's go. Smallest. It ain't PC98 Alice. But she has shrunk. Listen to this bottle pop. It's just water, though. It's just water, that's all. April 30th. Basically 9 o'clock. Myoden Temple Sanctum. Miss Patchouli, the appointed time is in 2 minutes. So it seems. Well, have you noticed anything unusual? No, there's nothing to report. But what on earth could this thief be thinking? Because of them, we're here, waiting at the scene before the crime even happened. It feels backwards. True enough, very soon we'll be catching a criminal who claims I haven't done anything yet. In the first place, until there's been an incident, there aren't any criminals or victims. Chat, isn't the idea here is that if you leave a calling card saying that you're going to steal, you can be charged with intent, right? So they can still be arrested even if they don't succeed. And I mean, obviously, if this isn't their first calling card, then they can easily be charged with, you know. Chat, do Phantom Thieves exist in real life? This may sound like a stupid question, but have there ever actually been real cases of calling cards and thieves? Or is this just one of those fantasy things that people love in mystery novels? Because I actually don't know a single instance of this happening in real life. But I am not too educated in that. Yes, kinda. Exaggerated, but yes. Probably, but it wouldn't be that big on the news. Are you sure? That sounds like something that would be pretty big if someone pulled off a successful heist after being like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Probably someone said they were gonna rob a bank or something ahead of time and the police were too lazy and overlooked it. That sounds more like our world, yes. Anyway, moving on. Well, we can't just let a crime happen on our watch. Of course not. We cannot let that thief treat our police force like a joke. Once we get hands on them, I will make sure to extract due compensation. Sakuya. Right, this is the theme that has basically his prelude in it, huh? Compensation is not something a police officer should be bringing up. Is it not? Yes, in some contexts, that could be considered soliciting a bribe, which... What? That was an explosion behind the temple. Sakuya, take your maids and investigate. I'll keep an eye on things here. Understood? Is everyone alright? Yes. Are the others fine too, Miss Sakuya? Yes, we are unharmed. But you look like you're nursing your knee. I just stumbled a little. Never mind that report. There was an explosion and it made this big hole in the wall. A hole? In the wall? It can't be. Miss Sakuya, hurry! Back to Miss Patchouli. I had a terrible feeling, though I suppose anyone would have a bad feeling in this situation. I wonder if I had the mistress's power, could I have changed his fate? Is Patchy dead? Ah! Miss Patchouli! Miss Patchouli! Oh shit! The criminal escaped us that night. They committed not just one crime, but two. We have a true hardened offender on our hands this time. Patchy got whacked! But they still slipped right past us. Even with so many officers on the scene, no one even caught sight of the perpetrator. Whoever did this was just playing with us all like puppets. And the curtain closed on this nightly puppet show, with a great many mysteries left unsolved. Cover her in the pink paint, and then play the Danganronpa. You know the one. The one that always plays when a body's discovered. God, that theme is creepy. I'm at Aya's house. Good morning, Aya. This is unacceptable. Aya? This is unacceptable. It was so important, I said it twice. Excuse me. Hey, don't just leave. Well, when Aya's already acting like this in the morning, it's best to run away. I'm standing right here, you know. So, what happened? Or rather, is there a problem? There is! Myoden Temple's got a strange letter yesterday. A letter? Yes, an extremely strange letter. In short, it said that on the night of April 30th at 9, Byakuren's grimoire would be stolen. Her what? Would that be announcing a crime? Exactly. I thought I'd go witness that moment as a reporter and write an exclusive article, but the police stopped me. They told me no one except those concerned could come near. Well, if they have no idea who the thief could be, obviously they'd be suspicious of everyone. And besides, this is a pretty important matter. I'm sure all the other Tengu heard about it too, so even getting anything exclusive would be a bit... murgurgur. Classic. Even then, if the police had advance notice... Oh, right, on top of everything else, I heard the culprit escaped the police. So they haven't been caught yet? Sounds like it. They must be an amazing thief to do all this and still not get caught. That's it. We're going to do our own investigation and find that master thief before the police can. And then that exclusive article won't be a mere dream anymore. But, Aya, even if you catch the culprit yourself, will you end up having to defend them in court? Not if they're the culprit. This is unacceptable. It was so important I said it thrice. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. Let's just go to the scene for the time being. But no one's been arrested yet. I'm a journalist first and foremost. If I write articles on the incidents, people will need to also read the articles on the trials to see how it ends. Oh, I see. That's just like you, Aya. You never let an opportunity pass you by. Then let's not waste any time. Begin the investigation. Terribly sorry, but there's no need for you to bother. Miss Patchouli? What are you doing here? We have already arrested a suspect in the case of the Myoden grimoire, Alice Murgatroyd, but she denies the charge. In other words, I'm going to be defending her. She's alive! Yes, you are to be her coin-appointed attorney. You must have some kind of grounds to be calling her a suspect, right? But of course, we have 2 pieces of decisive evidence. 2? Go straight to the holding cell. You'll learn at least one of them, whether you like it or not. What could that mean? And now you'll have to excuse me. I still have plenty of other work to take care of. Should we just head there right now? I guess. Talk to me. There's one thing that's bothering me. What is it? It's the calling card, of course. Why would Alice write a calling card? I know what you mean. That's like screaming, please catch me. But the thief got away with it at the scene, right? True. But then she was caught the very next day. Everything feels so mysterious. Hold on. Mortis! Mortis! Oh, we're good. We're good. For some reason, I clicked the profile button and I got an error, and then the game wouldn't accept my inputs anymore. Chat, I'm creating a theory in my mind right now. I'll get back to you on that later. I don't know what happened, but I thought my game crashed. But then the window buttons worked, and then it worked. I was a little scared there. I think we took a wrong turn somewhere. But this is the only holding cell, isn't it? And yet Alice isn't here, is she? She shouldn't be in questioning. How mysterious. Hey, are you two ignoring me on purpose? I'm gonna go complain to Sakuya. I'm not a babysitter. If you must complain, complain about something else. Pay attention to people pay attention when people are speaking to you. I'm sorry, little girl, but I'm busy. I don't have time to play with you. But where could Alice have gone? I was saying, I'm standing right here. I'm getting Sakuya. I won't let them treat me like an idiot. If you must complain, complain somewhere else. I'm telling you, I'm Alice. Why are you ignoring me? A simple question. The Alice I know isn't a small child. Well, I'm not happy to be like this either. Don't you think she looks a lot like Miss Alice? Oh, she must be Alice's little sister. Oh God, Shinky had another. I hadn't thought of that. I am her. Why don't you just listen? Whoa, please don't cry. I'm not crying. Your eyes are pretty wet for someone who's not crying. What a nuisance. I told him this would happen. Ah, Remilia, what kind of prank is this? Ah, there she is. A prank, you say? If only it were that simple. What do you mean, Miss Remilia? Wait, is this little girl really? You know it was Byakuren's grimoire that was stolen, don't you? As a magician, she specializes in spells that alter physical attributes. Such as, for instance, rejuvenating the body. Rejuvenating... No way. Then this kid is... I've been telling you this from the beginning. It seems she used the spells in the grimoire and became this little girl. That's impossible. It happened in Momiji due to candy. I have stopped daydreaming. If what Miss Remilia said is true, then Alice... Oh, you're sharper than you look. This is our first decisive evidence. I see. If Alice used Byakuren's spells to turn into a child, then she's the one who stole Byakuren's grimoire. Are you kidding? I never stole any grimoires. So their decisive evidence is Alice herself. Well, it looks like you are all on the same page now. I bet it was Iku again, her fucking candy. Then I'll leave you to your work. I presume your little get-together has much to discuss ahead of the trial. She's not wrong. This is a real mess. Tell me about yourself, little one. So there's something we need to make absolutely clear before we talk about anything else. Which is... Did you use Byakuren's grimoire? Don't be ridiculous. I never even touched that book. Then how did you turn into a child? I couldn't tell you. You don't know? This morning I went to Marissa's house. There was no answer no matter how much I knocked. When I tried the doorknob, I felt a shock go through my whole body and lost consciousness. And when I came to, you were like this. Oh, I know. It's that one thing. The appearance of a child, the brains of an adult, right? That's Conan. Momiji, what the hell are you talking about? Well, this is like a story I read in some books I found at Koirindo. Sounds interesting. I'll look into it next time I go. Hey, Detective Conan ain't bad though. I feel like you're not listening to me, but it must be my imagination. Oh, excuse me. What you were saying? Ah, I'm sorry. I won't ever do it again, so please don't cry. I'm fine. So you think I'm the thief too? You have 2 past offenses like this one on record, don't you? The last episode I watched of Detective Conan was episode 380 something. I've been skipping filler, mind you, but I binged it really hard, and then I kind of picked it back up, and then I put it down again. But I've watched a lot of Conan. Right? First was the affair at the A&T jar when I stole that love potion and framed Marissa. Second was the time Tay tricked me to robbing Mistia's stall. I didn't bother with the movies. Anything non-canon I did not watch. But yeah, it was a nice thing to throw on every now and again. I was really into it. And now it looks like I'm reaping what I've sown. No matter what I say, no one will believe me. Pachili told me you deny the charge. The movies are good. Well, the movies aren't canon, and I was more interested in the canon than that. Same reason I don't watch the DBZ movies. They're not canon. If it's not canon, I'm afraid I don't have as much interest in it because it's all, we made it up. It's all fake. None of it happened. And that's why I've come here as an attorney. So tell me, Alice. I didn't do it. I never laid a finger on Byakuren's grimoire. Then I'll believe you. You're gonna be defending me? Well, that's my job right now, and thanks to a certain someone, I have to do it. You seem to have plenty of worries. Is being a lawyer this taxing? Honestly, I wish I could get myself replaced. The series has hit its 1000th episode rather recently, yeah. It's long going. I wonder if this is how Marissa felt when she was arrested for the theft of that pot. I can't see into either of your heads, but I don't think she felt anything like you must right now. Like you must now. Of course. I mean, Marissa didn't get herself turned into a kid. Even if she hadn't been, I'm sure she'd just continue acting like the thoughtless idiot she is. You're probably right. Yeah, Marissa probably wouldn't change. Speaking of Marissa, you said you went to her house this morning? When did Conan start? Well, if it's over 1,000 episodes and a new episode happens every week, right? So that's 52 episodes. That's 52 episodes a year. It's over 20 years old. There you go. It's old. It's old. Remember, sometimes they skip a week, sometimes they have a movie, so it's still ongoing, yeah. But I believe, yeah, it was either mid 1980s or like late 90s or early 90s, sorry. Because it's 23 years old. Okay, yeah, so it's about the same age as me. Although I'm older than it. Yes. And that was when you turned into a child. 1994. So mid 1990s, okay. However, when did the manga start, right? The anime and the manga probably started earlier than the anime, yeah. So when did the manga start? That's how you get the true age. That's right. But why did you go there at all? This early in the morning, too. 1994 for the manga, 1996 for the anime. Oh, okay, you were giving me the manga date anyway. Damn. I was returning a book. A book? Marissa invited me to come to her house out of nowhere yesterday. The book caught my eye there, and I asked her to lend it to me. Marissa agreed at first, but just after I'd taken it home, she demanded I returned it. It's a bit strange to lend something away then ask for it back immediately, isn't it? They make a movie every year, so that's the amount of years. I do remember there being over 20 movies. I don't even have to have to look inside, in fact. But if it was what she asked, so I went to return it this morning. And when you touched her doorknob, you turned into a kid. Yes. Do not understand it any more than you do. And that's not good, because I don't understand at all. No one in Conan has aged at all. It's really strange. Alright, take me to the scene of the crime. Temple Gates. Good morning. Ah, you are the Tengu lawyer, aren't you? I never had a chance to thank you for what you did for show. No, it was nothing. Speaking of which, Miss Byakuren, you've met another misfortune. Oh, yes, but the culprit has already been caught. So it seems. It always feels a bit awkward telling the victim I'll be defending the culprit. But I heard it was Alice who was arrested. Had you met her before? Of course. She had visited us before. Well, they are both magicians. I guess they'd have all kinds of things to talk about. But I always thought of her as a very gentle girl, so please do not judge her too harshly. It must be that some unfortunate circumstance forced her to do this. Are you sure you don't believe she's innocent? Hey, chat, you remember in Double Focus when Byakuren told Tay to confess because Buddha would forgive her? And then gut punched her into a coma because she did not forgive her? Where'd that Byakuren go? I like that Byakuren. That Byakuren doesn't take your shit. Are you sure you don't believe she's innocent? But I also do not want to suggest Patchouli has been doing poor work. What to do? Buddha may forgive you, but I won't. That's a good line. That's a powerful line. She really is too kind, and I don't mean that as a compliment. Ooh, listen to that. Listen to that string. For now, please tell me about the incident. Doom, doom, doom. It all began around noon yesterday. We received a letter telling you the grimoire was going to be stolen. Yes, I was quite shocked. I had never received a letter like this one before. Most people usually don't. It's embarrassing to say, but I was not sure what to do. So I thought that I should let the police know. And they came over at once. Yes, Patchouli took charge of things and made preparations to protect the temple. Miss Patchouli came herself. You see, the letter mentioned stealing a magical grimoire, so it seemed very likely the thief would be a magician. Well, if you weren't, you couldn't do anything with it, even if you stole it. It seems this is why Patchouli, being a magician herself, decided to take charge of the case. But the culprit still slipped past her. But the police certainly did all they could. Nothing was neglected on their watch. Man, Byakuren, you are a good heart. So I have no intention of blaming them, and they've arrested the thief already just a day later. But it's still strange. How did the criminal manage to steal the book in spite of all this security? I do not know. I was waiting elsewhere at the time. I see. But I heard a loud noise just before the appointed time. Afterwards, we found a large hole in the wall. Soku's 12.3. Soku's 12.3, yep. Great Fairy Wars is 12.8, and 12.5 is double spoiler. A hole in the wall. Yes, a hole in the temple's back wall. Perhaps you should go see it yourselves. 13.5, otherwise known as, Alfie's. Oh my god, what are you doing? Alfie's, no, please! Please! Put the pencil down. Put the pencil down. I don't think the art was that bad, personally, but holy shit. It was different. It was very different. That was the start of the new era of fighting games for the series with Hopeless Masquerade. I forget about it a lot as well because it's like the other ones have the same style, but then they have the same artists with Moe. Right, we'll have to look later. A hole in the wall, huh? Like that incident last year. Whoa. So the grimoire that was stolen, just what is it? Listen well. Huh? Okay. It was centuries ago. I was locked in a struggle with my own morality. Or mortality. I like this theme a lot. This theme reminds me, I've said this before, but Fires of Hokai reminds me of Blackout Basement from Donkey Kong Country. I think it has a very similar vibe. Before long, my time would come. I became desperate. And so, I sought out the power of magic, even though it was forbidden by my holy vows. And through the shedding of much blood, sweat, and tears, I made these secrets my own. All my hardships of that time, all my passions of that time. Byakuren? Please forgive me. This tends to happen when I reminisce about the past. You notice how big Byakuren's eyebrows are? I do now. I do now. Not that intrusive. I know you shouldn't be able to see them through her hair like that at all, but it kind of is just it's okay. It's fine. It looks fine. It looks fine. In any case, I decided to put down writing the magic I discovered during that time in this book. It does extend off her face into the air, but it's fine. It's okay, it's magic. Most of it is spells that alter one's physical attributes. Including rejuvenation. Certainly. You could say that spell was the very thing that drove me down this path. So Alice must have... At the very least, it can't be a coincidence she was transformed. On the very next day after this book was stolen, notes on the grimoire of Byakuren were added to the court record. Nice book. The The book stolen from Yoden Temple describes the various spells invented by Byakuren, including a spell that can be used to rejuvenate one's body. But all the spells in this book are secrets of magic you discovered yourself, aren't they? Why write them down at all? What can I say? I may not look it, but I am quite old, and I have been feeling forgetful lately. It made me worry. Should something happen to me, those secrets may be lost forever, so I put them in writing. But if they had that book, wouldn't a magician be able to use your spells as they please? And maybe abuse them? Yes, that is always a concern. I intended to keep this book safely locked away. We were in the middle of preparing a place to keep it. It would have to be ready for 2 days later. You know how this doesn't actually matter to Byakuren because her air scroll contains all of her secrets and only she can use it. So she doesn't need a book to do this. She's got that goddamn scroll. That scroll cheats. In other words, the thief picked the day security was weakened. Does that sound right? Yes. Well, if their security had been perfect, there wouldn't have been a need to call the police. By the way, who exactly knew about this book? Let me think. Alice and Patchouli would have known. And Marissa as well. I consulted with my fellow magicians about it. I think the lore in the scroll itself must have come later. You'd have to check it. Because that scroll was very prominent in her art in the debut game. And remember, the Omake text has a lot of information in it that is just completely missed because who reads the Omake text? I certainly don't, and there's a ton of shit in there. So you'd have to check it. Cross-reference everything Byakuren has showed up in before this game, and you should be able to find the answer. Will you do that? Probably not. Will I do that? Most definitely not. But there is a chance. I recommend you read the Omake. Don't be like me. I forget it exists all the time. As I said, there's a lot of good lore in there that you can miss. And I miss it a lot because chat will bring up things and I'm like, where did you read that? And then they're like the Omake text. And then I learned something new. Because the Omake text is a lot in there. I did not think they would ever consider misusing it. Then she just explained that she wrote her secrets in the book so they wouldn't die with her. Makes enough sense to me. I don't know if she... Actually, yeah, you're kind of right about that. She does have the scroll that does whatever she wants, but yeah, if she goes, then no one else can read it. Unless that becomes readable when she dies. And then spoke quite candidly of their own magic with me, so I thought it wouldn't be right for me to keep secrets. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. Your scroll is Normies Get Out. Only you can read that shit. So Alice could definitely have done it. In fact, it is thanks to Patchouli that I wrote this book in the first place. What do you mean? As I said earlier, I've been worrying about my spells being forgotten. And when I consulted Patchouli on the matter, she suggested I write a grimoire. In other words, you started writing this book because of Patchouli's suggestion. Yes, but I think things would turn out like this. And when was it you started writing? It was more than a month ago, in March, I think. That's more recent than I would have thought. Anything else? Anything else? Be satisfied that grimoire was merely returned. I'm sorry, but we have to go through with the trial. I know, but I do not intend to condemn the culprit, whoever they are. I hope you understand. I do. That's alright, because Eiki's gonna slap them. Take me to the back wall. Could Kozusu read Byakuren's air scroll? That is a good question. I don't think those two have ever interacted, but Kozusu's ability is one that can read anything, right? So she could probably read it, assuming. But I don't think she's ever had an opportunity to do that, and I don't think anyone's ever asked that question. That hole looks fake. Oh, that's a hole. For some reason, I thought that was a bonsai. I thought that was a tree on the text box as like a planted tree. And it was just hanging there. Wow, that's not subtle at all. But can she understand it? Well, in one of the chapter ends, she gets a letter from the Scarlet Devil Mansion in English, and she can read it perfectly. And then she tries to write back in English, and she completely struggles. So she completely understood it, but then she couldn't like recreate it. So I have a feeling she probably could understand what's written on the scroll, but like that's the extent of it. It's kind of like how Renosuke's ability lets him know what an item's purpose is, but doesn't tell him how to get to that purpose, right? Like he knows how it he knows what it's supposed to do, but he doesn't know how to get it to work, kind of thing. So I think that's kind of how Kazuzu's ability works as well with reading. She can read it and understand it, what it's saying, but then she can't, like, that's the extent of it. Because she could read the English and understand what it was saying perfectly, right? So she could convert it. So I assume it'd be the same thing for the air scroll, but then she wouldn't be able to replicate it necessarily, because just because she could read it doesn't mean she'd be able to write it. Amazing. What else can I say? This must be the famous big hole. Kozuzu thought a Tengu satirical play was some yokai death spell, right? That was the chapter where the Menreki dance, right? Because she ends up reading something about how the dance that what's her name Kokoro does at the shrine. She reads it as like oh yeah, it's a death chant, a death spell. She's gonna dance at the Hakude shrine, and a lot of humans are gonna suffer for it. And so she goes there to try and like stop it, but she can't really just flat out stop it because Reimu's making a profit on it. And if you come between Reimu and money, you get the back end of her stick, I suppose. But then by the end of the chapter, someone mentions how it's like, yeah, that was just like a satirical play, yeah, that was made up by yokai, and it wasn't actually real. So she could read it, she read it and understood it, but she didn't understand the meaning behind it. So she didn't, she doesn't know the whole story. It really does remind me of that incident. I think this is what's called a modus operandi. Operandi? Module operandi. Modus operandi. Modus operandi. There you go. But the culprit back then was Alice. Modus operandi is how it's pronounced. Happy to help. Thank you. But that would mean that this is a ploy that has already failed before. So would you really try to use it again? Just say MO and call it a day, I suppose. It's their MO. That would be a weird thing to do. Somehow this case feels more strange than the others. Like there's darkness around us we can't see through. There's no one to talk to. Oh, I already know how this case goes because I'm a genius. Still, the more I look at it, the worse it looks. Rubble got blown so far away. It got blown away? Let's take a picture of the scene for now. Took a picture of the big hole as evidence and filed it out of the court record. A picture of a large hole blasted the mountain temple's closing wall. You can see the temple proper through it. The rubble on the ground is scorched, so it was probably done with an explosive. But it's true. The more I look at it, the more I think that incident. Could it really have been Alice? Oh yeah, Alice and her kamikaze dolls. Right, she blew a hole in the wall. There's a smaller door near the gate. Small as it is, it's still a temple door, so it has some dignity of its own. But now you can just go through the hole instead of using it. Well, you can, but you shouldn't. An impressive gate, as you'd expect from a temple. Even the back gate has kind of majesty to it. Or it would if it wouldn't be the massive hole nearby. So this game came out before... Ten Desires, so Kyoko's not here. Kotaka's ability is to heal sore throats. That is the character I would keep around. Her ability is very situational for sure. But, sore throats suck a lot. So, I would hang out with her. Also, she would be great to have backstage during, I don't remember the name of their band. Mistia and Kyoko's band. All she had to do is stand backstage and they'd be able to scream their lungs out for as long as they want. Here is the scene of the crime. But there's no sign that anything was disturbed. That only confirms that this was carefully planned heist. Shoujo Gikaku. Well, there was a calling card, so it has to be. So you came after all. Obviously, were you the one who pushed this on me, Patchouli? If the suspect won't plead guilty, then they'll need an attorney, right? Leaving that aside, you seem pretty confident today. Oh, is it that obvious? You were mountain hiking just to break the news to me. You have 2 pieces of decisive evidence on Alice, so you must realize you simply have no chance of winning this time. But of those 2 pieces of evidence, we only know 1. Should I just try to clear everything up now? What are you hiding from me right now? Tell me about the decisive evidence. Your evidence, it's Alice's current state, isn't it? It is. Just looking at her should make the truth obvious. At the very least, her transformation makes it obvious she's involved in the incident somehow. But what's the other decisive evidence? The stolen grimoire itself. Byakuren's grimoire? Yes, we discovered it when we just investigated Alice's home. You know what that means, right? No way. We have unmistakable signs of the grimoire being used, and the grimoire itself found hidden in her house. Even Chirno could solve this riddle. So I have to defend someone even Chirno could convict. Today will be quite difficult for you, I imagine, and I fear I will make it even worse in a moment. But there's more? There is. A decisive witness. That would be Sakuya. Uh-oh. 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 I think the battery on my mouse is dying. That witness, did they see anything in the moment of the crime? Not exactly. So you can't really call it decisive then. Well, if there had been a witness like that, the culprit would have been caught immediately. Actually, let me pull up a safety measure. Safety measure, safety measure, safety measure. Okay, safety measure is now in place. It's true that our witness did not catch Alice in the act, but they saw the next best thing. Next, this morning they saw Alice holding the stolen grimoire. Seriously? But grimoires all just look like books. Alice always carried a grimoire of her own around, so maybe that was it, not Miss Byakuren's. That's right. Alice is also a magician to begin with, so there's nothing strange about her walking around with a grimoire. I'm afraid that won't be enough to save you. The witness is someone from this very temple. What? Huh? I believe her name is Nazarin! Ah! It seems she took it upon herself to search for the stolen books after the events of yesterday. She has a unique gift for finding anything that goes missing. So Nazarin tracked down the grimoire. And Alice. Exactly. She even tried to capture the thief herself, but did not succeed. And she immediately notified us afterwards. But then, you understand, don't you? She wouldn't mistake another book for her quarry. Not with her power, right? So we're just completely cornered, right? Show me the rat. Where's the giant rat? She's making the rules! And you were in charge of security at the time of the incident, weren't you, Patchouli? Yes, I was. So I'd like to hear more about it directly from you. I do not mind. You know about the calling card already, I'm sure. Yes, that was why Byakuren came to you, wasn't it? Correct. Here, have a look. Omiji? Yeah, I understand. April 30th at 9 p.m. That is when your precious grimoire will be stolen. Phantom Thief X. Phantom Thief X. Not very original, are they? At any rate, after the victim received this, we were called to the scene. Since they were targeting a grimoire, I deduced that Phantom Thief X was a magician. So you took charge of security yourself. Yes, though it did us no good. Just what happened when the book was stolen. Just before the hour written on the calling card came, we heard an explosion. Sakuya left the room to investigate. As for me, a presentiment made me stay in this room, but I was suddenly attacked from behind and lost consciousness. And then, what next? I can only guess. When Sakuya woke me up, the thief and the grimoire were both already gone. So you didn't see the thief's face then? No, as I said, I was suddenly grabbed from behind. You didn't notice anything at all? There was one thing. In the moment I was attacked, I smelled something sweet. Something sweet? I cannot describe it any other way. For some reason, this feels familiar. So about that letter, could you identify the handwriting? Actually, we did. So you know who wrote it? Of course. These are the words of Aya Shameimaru. Eh? Huh? Aya was the thief all along? Don't be stupid. How the hell could this be my handwriting? Take a closer look. Can't you tell where the paper cuttings were pasted? Oh, it's a ransom note. Okay. Well, it's true. Words were glued on the paper one by one. Boom Boom Maru newspaper clippings were used, apparently. Seems this trick is a bit of a cliche in the outside world. This is unacceptable. So unacceptable, I say it 4 times. It's not my fault. So there's no point in poring over your handwriting. It's so humiliating. Wait a minute, Aya. If the culprit used cuttings from your paper to make this, wouldn't that mean they're a subscriber? No, you daubed those papers everywhere. You're right. Not necessarily. A rag like this could easily be found in any garbage bin. Oh, yeah, that's also a possibility. Please don't call it a rag. It's my life's work. There. The thief just reused one of your old newspapers. It's just that recycling things that's so popular now. You're at the cutting edge of fashion. I don't want my old newspapers to be recycled for doing crimes. Sorry. I must say, old newspaper is too close to an oxymoron. Throwing away newspaper would be much better. Old news. That's old news. Oh, you're right. I don't want to argue anymore. I just want to sink into the ground. Slid the calling card of the court record, hopefully to never be seen again. Nice. Put together with Boom Boom Metal newspaper cuttings. Seems like we're good. I have nothing else to say about this. Dazzling sunlight pours in from the outside. I also heard the singing of birds and the regular beat of a shishi odoshi. No, now isn't the time for contemplation. I don't know what that is. Sliding door, I wonder where it leads. No, I shouldn't open without permission. People who never seem to get angry, like the priest here, are always the scariest when they do get angry. Yeah, I've seen what happens when she gets angry. She makes you commit not life for a little bit. Woo, tatami mats always calm me down. I just want to lie down and take a nap. No, now isn't the time for a rest. I think that's everything here. Back to the gate. Tell me about this. Yes, this is the letter I received that day. You get letters often. Not recently, no, but I used to write many letters. However, I heard from Snai that people no longer write letters in the outside world. An email is becoming the norm. Email? Would that be mail written in English? Oh, of course. That would make some sense. If only the language changed. And does anything else change at all? I see. She did say they lived in a global era. I wonder if things would have been any different if this letter had been an email. Oh, that's nice. Repairing this will be quite a struggle. When it rains, it pours, doesn't it? Yes, but all that matters is that no one was injured. Miss Byakuren is so kind. Don't make me repeat myself. Forest cottage exterior. Oh, right, Alice's house. She lives in that wooden hut, and she's got a castle out over there as well. The Alice Manor. Well, the stolen grimoire was found here, so we should investigate too. Aya, look over here. There. That's Marissa. Oh, God. She's already gone. She looked pretty shifty, didn't she? That's suspicious. Nothing unusual, but suspicious. By the way, Alice said something about Marissa, that she turned into a child when she touched her doorknob. Could Marissa have something to do with this case? It's hard to think she's unrelated, especially considering what she's usually up to. True enough. No way, Alice even has a pavilion. That's a lot of space for someone living alone. It's a pretty large house, and I bet it's filled with dolls. Chat, what is a pavilion? What is that? Is that like term for a small castle? Forest cottage. We've been in this area before in the last game. The music's the same. Forest cottage living room. And here is Alice's house. I know we've been here before. I remember, but it still looks like such a nice house. I wish my place was more like it. A gazebo? A gazebo? Isn't a gazebo... What? Oh, so the text I got there was tied to the balcony I clicked, not the actual entire structure. Because a gazebo is like, it's got a roof. I know what a gazebo is. It's got a roof and like no walls. But that castle doesn't look like that. So I guess I clicked on a balcony or something. Oh well. Okay. Well, I guess I feel the same way. And yet it feels like something is out of place. Remember that coin we found here? Right? I know what you mean. I noticed it as soon as we came in, too. But what could it be? Aya, aren't you avoiding it on purpose? Well, you know. No. Oh, what is that doing on the table? Could this have anything to do with the incident? That's completely impossible. Then let's look elsewhere. Aya, please put them back where you found them first. What? I was just... For some reason, they're suspicious. I guess people don't usually leave panties on the living room tables. It would make perfect sense if they were pastries, but they're not. So this is Alice's underwear. It has to be, right? There's no reason Marissa's panties would be in Alice's house, right? I guess that's true, but why did you bring up Marissa? I don't know! She was just here, so maybe I have Marissa on my mind. Well, logically, if her panties were lying here, Marissa would have to wear Alice's panties in their place. And then Alice would have to wear Marissa's panties. What the fuck is this? And that would mean... Let's cut that out right now. Okay, fine. We'll just have to ask the people involved directly. Panties added as evidence, court record where evidence belongs. White panties found on Alice's living room table, but why would they leave underwear here? Oh my, that was a fucking bra moment. It's evidence. Certified bra moment. Looks like a sewing kit. If it was left behind on this table, its owner must have been using it just before she left. Couldn't she just have forgotten to put it away? But everything else in this room was in perfect order. Would Alice really leave this lying around? Well, this kit definitely isn't in perfect order. If Alice was using this just before she was arrested, then it might be a clue. We should ask her about this when we can. There's 2 cups on the table, but who would Alice have tea with here? A doll? I was gonna say that, actually. A large picture decorates the wall. It's a painting of a human. I wonder if Alice uses art as a reference for her dolls. Fireplace is fenced off. Well, winter's over, so that's to be expected. A bookshelf filled with books, but the biggest books are all on the top shelf. If there was an earthquake, it could be dangerous. I've seen this kind of rocking chair in books before. When you sit in it, it keeps swinging back and forth. For some reason, I can imagine Alice sitting there knitting. Alice is just trying to live her best life. I think that's everything. Wow, that got the rocking chair prompt, huh? Okay. Alright, we're good. That whole thing is a... That whole thing is a pavilion? Are you sure that's not just a castle? If it... That doesn't look like any, like a gazebo to me. That's a whole ass fortress, dude. It's got 2 floors. Mario's running in that shit and beating up Wham Bam. You can't tell me that's a pavilion. Now where do I go? Well, the obvious answer. Oh, this is gonna get weird. Scarlet Devil Mansion holding cell. Alice, do you have more time to talk? I have nothing but time here. For now, let's start with the easier questions. Oh, your sewing kit. Alright. I visited your house a short while ago. I see. Did you find anything? You left your sewing kit on your living room table. Were you working before you were arrested? How is it that no one realizes? Did you really not wonder at all? About what? About my clothes. As you can see, I am much smaller than I was before, so where do you think the clothes I'm wearing came from? I did not think of that for even a second. For some reason, I thought her clothes shrunk with her. Pavilion is a flexible architectural open space and it invites people to come in and spend time in it. Technically a roofed platform, so it's still a platform. They did it more like an actual building. I'm gonna call it a fortress, because it looks like a fortress. It's got two floors and definitely has multiple rooms. When you say pavilion and you describe it as like a gazebo, I can only think of it as like a one-room thing. Ah, I see. I didn't consider that at all. I just thought the spell had changed them too. I did as well. Amateurs always think a magic spell can do anything, but a spell is a technique that produces a certain specific effort in accordance with immutable laws. That is why it is said science and magic are one and the same. Well, I could expect that from you or Patchouli, but it doesn't feel like Marissa sees magic differently. She seems a lot less academically minded. How should I put it? You did forensics a while ago using Kappa technology, didn't you? Even though you didn't understand the theory behind it, you can still get results by following instructions. It's the same thing. I think I understand. Oh, I understand completely. I understand that I don't understand. So these clothes, what about them? When I came to, my body was smaller, but my clothes were unchanged. I had no idea what I should do. I couldn't wear them in my state. Even my underwear would just slide down the instant I stood up. It's a good thing you didn't run into some kind of paparazzi. When it's you saying it, doesn't it sound like a joke? So what did you do? I walked home with my clothes dragging on the ground. I didn't want anyone to see me like this. And you were also dragging your underwear. Just forget about it. Write whatever you like in your article, I don't care anymore. Excuse me, but this is an important detail. Please just continue your story. When I made it home, I brought out my sewing kit. I got to work on my living room table right away. I refitted the shirt and skirt I'd been wearing, and the police arrived to arrest me as soon as I was done. So that's how it was. How long were you sewing, by the way? It was something like 40 minutes. 40 minutes? Not a lot of time, is it? Alice, is there anything else you want to add? There isn't. If I forgot something, then show me. Show you. I could, but I don't know if I should. Oh, god damn it! Hey! Why are you carrying this around? Oh, so these are your panties, aren't they? You haven't shown these to anyone else, right? I was thinking about it. Obviously not. There's something I have to ask about these panties. There's nothing to talk about. That doesn't have anything to do with the case. You cannot say that for certain. Oh, no. What are you talking about? Alice, I can tell when someone's stonewalling me, but considering your story and the state of your house, there's only one thing that comes to mind. And what is it that comes to mind? Dancing around it is getting to be a pain, so I'll be blunt. Alice, do you have underwear on right now? What? Aya, have you gone crazy? I am dead serious. Alice told us as much herself, that she was arrested after refitting her skirt and shirt. In other words, there are only two things Alice refitted. Ah, I see. And even before that, Alice told us something else. Her underwear would slide off just from standing up, meaning her panties needed to be refitted too. But she never said anything about that in her story. I'm wearing them! I just didn't think I had to mention them. That's not true, Alice. You must know where I found these panties. They were on the table you were sewing at. That could only mean these were the panties you planned to refit. Oh, but the police came in the middle of your work and arrested you as you were, so you could not be wearing any panties now. Gotcha. Cornered. Right, are you satisfied now that I've been thoroughly humiliated? No, that's not why I asked. Oh, so this is evidence in the case? Yes, naturally. If I tell her they're unrelated after all, she might actually kill me. Then you will keep them safe until the case is resolved, and then you will return them to me without fail. I'll guard them with my life. Panties have been updated, identified as Alice's panties. She didn't get a chance to refit them, so she's been going without. Welcome to Commando. Alice, it's about time. We have... yeah, it's about time we have to hurry. But there's so many mysteries still unsolved. But we'll have to clear them up in court. Let's focus on avoiding the guilty verdict first. Well, that was a short one. Question. If Watef's still here. Is this case three investigations, 3 court days, or is it 2 investigations, 2 court days? It finally begins. So it does. You look rather despondent today. You were much more lively the time we've met in court. I've discovered something in my time as an attorney. Motivation is something that shows on your face. Oh, shit. Shit. There's no log. There's no log. Oh well. Well, I don't want to be an actor, so there. More importantly, it seems there's plenty of damaging evidence and witnesses. That's true. Well, all we can do is believe in your ability as a lawyer. Thanks for your trust. But there is one thing I must make absolutely clear. I have never laid a finger on Byakuren's grimoire. I understand. Aya, we have to go. There's too many unknowns in this case to see clearly. We'll have to unravel things in court little by little. Could I save and go back? Probably, but it was one text line, so it's okay. It was only one line. The trial of Alice Murgatroyd will now begin. Your Honor, the defense is ready. The prosecution is ready as well. Where's Rat? Good, then let us hear the prosecution's opening statement. Bring the Rat. Yesterday on April 30th, a calling card was sent to the Myoden Temple. It gave advance notice that an attempt would be made that night to steal the grimoire belonging to the temple's head priest, Gyakuten Hijiri. So our police force awaited the culprit at the scene. Nevertheless, the thief eluded us and made off with their prize. But as of today, we have conclusive evidence that testimony that will elucidate the events of that night. I can declare here and now that the defendant has no hope of escaping this time. But how did this thief manage to outmaneuver the police and commit the crime in the first place? All this and more will be explained later. First of all, please have the defendant brought before us. Very well, the defendant may take the stand. Prosecution? Yes, what is it? What is the matter? Where is the defendant? I'm standing right here. Prosecution? Yes, what is the matter? Has the defendant gained the power of invisibility? I'm right here. I think she tried standing on her tiptoes and fell over. Seems like it. She looks really embarrassed right now. I know, it's adorable. Bailiff, please bring a box over. There she is. Prosecution? No need to ask, I'll simply explain. That girl at the witness stand is Alice Murgatroyd. What? Just a box. Order. Patchouli, what's the meaning of this? As I have said, she is accused of stealing Byakuren's grimoire, which holds the secret of rejuvenation. Rejuvenation? Simply seeing the defendant's statement should make it abundantly clear. She used the stolen grimoire. Order! Order! Prosecution, you are certain that such a spell could be found in this grimoire. There is no doubt about it. If necessary, I can have Byakuren Hijiri herself testify. In that case, it may be pointless to deliberate further. Alice being turned into a child doesn't prove she was a thief. Someone else could have done this to her. Someone else, you say? Vague statements such as this one have no place in court, right? But even if this someone existed, it would not change the defendant's position. Her crimes have been exposed. So you will be calling witnesses. Yes, to begin with, I wish to present a summary of the incident proper. Very well, you may call your first witness then. Sakuya. Witness your name and occupation. Sakuya Izayoi. I am here today as a detective. Well then, Sakuya, please tell us all you can about the night of the crime. Yes, certainly. Patchouli wants to one and done me. Yeah, she's gonna get 1 W and then quit. The incident at Myoden Temple occurred at 9 o'clock, as promised in the calling card. At that time, Miss Patchouli, several maids, and myself were on watch in the room where the grimoire was kept. 1 minute before the appointed time, there was an explosion behind Myoden Temple. Fortunately, the maids on patrol were uninjured, but a large hole was blasted in the enclosing wall. When we heard this, my subordinates and I rushed to the site of the explosion. Seeing that hole, a bad feeling came over me, and I rushed back to Miss Patchouli's side. but I was too late. Nothing in this testimony seems to implicate the defendant in this incident. That will have to wait for our next witness, but she is someone who saw the victim's grimoire in the defendant's hands the very next day. After hearing from them, we made a search of the defendant's home. And having discovered that stolen grimoire during the search, we made our arrest. What is Nazarin's occupation gonna be? Treasure hunter? It's not Giant Rat that makes all the rules. I would like it if it was, though. But where did you find the grimoire exactly? Underneath her couch cushions, we found that poor lonesome book there. And there is no doubt it was the victim's stolen grimoire. None. The witness, Nazarin, had come with us, and she identified it herself. I now understand why it is you made your arrest, but there is one point that still worries me. And what would that be? Why did the culprit send a calling card in the first place? Oh yeah, that's one mystery we haven't solved yet. I can think of one possible reason. What is it? The culprit styled themselves a phantom thief, a kind of criminal from outside world stories who will typically give advance warnings of their crimes for the sake of theatrics. Perhaps Alice had come to find a thrill in stealing. That sounds like something Marissa would do. It wouldn't make any sense for her to take such a huge risk just for that. You would naturally think so, wouldn't you? That is why Alice sent that calling card, to divert suspicion away from herself. She is considered a recluse who avoids standing out, not the kind of person you expect to announce her crimes. You mean to say the calling card was an attempt at camouflage? Precisely. That'd be some incredibly risky camouflage. The heist went out without a hitch, so it did her no harm, and the defendant is clearly not above this kind of trick. She had committed theft and attempted to frame others for her crimes twice before. So perhaps she tried to create an imaginary scapegoat this time. She was bound to bring up her criminal record, huh? This is extremely bad. Let us put aside the matter of the calling card for now. The defense may cross-examine. I have to show them Alice isn't the culprit somehow. What can I even do? Well, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. Well, it makes the prosecution look better to make my defendant look bad, right? Are you sure about that? I am absolutely sure. April 30th, 9 o'clock at Myodan Temple, we tensely awaited that moment, and didn't relax our guard for a second. This is what was written in the calling card, wasn't it? Yes, and their target was the priest grimoire. To proudly announce one's crimes, what impudence. Well, you will soon have a chance to pass judgment on this impudent thief. Well, Alice may be a thief, but she's not impudent. That's not what she's on trial for. I will assume you were referring to the defendant's past offenses. Continue the cross-examination. I should have thought this one through more. The time Miss Patchley, several maids, and myself were on watch in the room where the grimoire was kept. In total, how many people would have been in this room? There were 3 maids with us, so 5 in total. Then, why didn't you tell us there were 3 maids from the beginning? Pardon me, I couldn't remember how many there were on the spot. Several or 3 is the same thing. I fucking hate this right here. Chat, when somebody asks me for a couple of something, and then I ask them, oh, did you want 2? And they look at me like I'm the idiot. Bro, you want me to read your fucking mind? I hate that shit. It's so annoying. Can I get a couple? Can I get a couple of these? Yeah, how many? I said a couple. Give me a fucking number. Hello? Give me a number. Don't get pissy at me because you didn't give me a number and I'm just supposed to understand that when you say it, when you say a phrase, I'm just supposed to be like, oh, I know exactly how much you want with that. Come on, dude. Several or 3 is the same thing. Well, that's true as far as words are concerned. But surely you 5 were not the only ones on guard. Yes, you are correct. I had posted maids throughout the temple's room and halls. Come to think of it, what about Remilia? Lady Remilia was at the mansion at the time. Why didn't she come too? Why? Why? There was no need to trouble the mistress with something like this. But didn't you end up letting the thief get away? Well, perhaps we underestimated them. You're just gonna let that slide. 1 minute before the appointed time, there was an explosion behind Myodan Temple. And you're certain it was 1 minute before? Yes, 1 minute. Give or take 1 or 2 seconds, perhaps. Surely you'll accept it as within the margin of error. Listen, whether or not you believe a couple to be 2, personally, when I say a couple, I refer to the number 2. But when it comes to buying a product, you need to be really clear on that. Because if you ask for a couple and I give you my version of a couple and it does not match your version of a couple and you spent the money, then there's a problem. Alright? There's monetary value on it, you need to be clear. If it's casual conversation, who the fuck cares? But if you're like, if it's the difference between a 2-piece meal and a 3-piece meal, please make it clear. Because then you're just gonna be an asshole about it anyway if I get it wrong, so come on. Surely you will accept that within the margin of error. Whenever I order anything like that, I always specify number. Because the number makes perfect sense and it's easy to follow, and they don't have to play the game like, you mean like 2, right? Because like I think it means 2, but you know, maybe you don't think it means, like, I'm not playing that fucking game. Not playing that game. Just tell me you want a 2-piece. Don't tell me you want a couple. There's no couple piece. Surely you will accept that within the margin of error. Just give me a couple nuggies. How many nuggies is that, right? You either get a 5, 8, or 10, or maybe more if you're in America. You fuckers get like 100 of them or some shit. But how much is a couple nuggies? An explosion preceding a burglary. I remember a similar incident occurring before. You remember correctly, the one behind that incident was Alice Margatroyd. Sure was. Return me to monkey. Grab a banana. Enjoy the show. On the contrary, this is the trick the defendant has used before and it failed. Chad, I'd just like to draw attention for a moment here. Don't you think it's amazing how we as a society have effectively removed the Y in the word monkey? And it's just accepted? What happened? Well, you know, I'm exaggerating a bit with the whole society aspect, but isn't it crazy how we just completely removed a letter from the word and everybody just reads it as if nothing has changed? It's just perfectly fine. I read it as like 1 syllable sometimes, monk, but sometimes I read it as monkey. What happened? What happened to us? How did we get here? On the contrary, there's a trick the defendant had used before and it failed. You think you just try an exact same thing again? That's impossible. Impossible. Couldn't that be the reason? What are you talking about? It'd be absurd for the same person to commit the same crime in the same way. Creating that misconception could have been her goal. But, in any case, unless you can prove the defendant could not have caused that explosion, you should keep quiet. It appears the defense has chosen to keep quiet. Let us move on from this topic. Fortunately, the maids on patrol were uninjured, but a large hole was blasted in the enclosing wall. The word suspicious is forever ruined now. Well, the word epic died in 2012. Every now and again, a word has to take the fall. Every year. Were any maids patrolling near the hole? Blame the jerks that put a silent P in pterodactyl. Hey, you say that, but that has given me the greatest Aerodactyl name ever. I call my Aerodactyls Terry, with a P in front of it, because I am a certified genius. Were any maids patrolling near the hole? Customer had please remember a happy day on their shirt. Oh my god. Society, baby. Somewhere, but fortunately no one was hurt. It happened while no one was nearby. So you gotta get a, if you go to the gym, you gotta get a tank top that's just a monkey face. The whole tank top is just monkey face. That's power. That's power. That's big energy. That's good to hear. Yes, it was the silver lining in the dark cloud. About that hole, should I ask a few more questions? Well, of course. Tell me about the hole. But why would the culprit make a hole in the wall? I came to the conclusion it was a distraction. We rushed after the room as soon as we heard it, after all. No one stayed behind? No, Miss Patchley remained on guard. But as soon as Sakuya and the others left, I was attacked from behind. The easiest character in this entire series to fit in the role was definitely Eiki. She was too easy to fit into the role. Everything else took a little bit of elbow grease to make work. But Eiki was just like, that was probably the easiest one to figure out. And then I lost consciousness. By the time Sakuya and the others woke me, the grimoire was already gone. Did you not see the thief? They came from behind, so I saw nothing. But I think I smelled something sweet before I fainted. Have a monkey face the size of your thumb right in the middle. So you want a giant monkey face, and right on their nose you want another monkey face on it. So it's like a ripple void of monkey. Wow. That's deep. That sweet smell again. But what was it that destroyed that wall? One of the defendant's gunpowder-loaded dolls, no doubt. It must have been placed inside the wall and detonated. That certainly that would certainly work. What should I do about this? Add to the testimony. Your Honor, I want the witness' last remarks to be added to her testimony. Very well. Witness, if you would. Chat, you remember that episode of SpongeBob? Where Squidward is thrown in that dimension and he falls by all those things and it's like spaghetti? Imagine that, but instead of all of what he saw, it's just different monkeys. That's the monkey dimension. You get thrown in that and you just fall indefinitely and you just see monkeys and you hear chimpanzees screeching and bananas. And that's your purgatory. That's monkey hell. I guess. Very well, witness if you would. Certainly. We believe it was a doll planted outside the wall that caused the explosion. You mean outside the outer wall that encloses the temple? Monketti. Oh, speaking of that, monkey heaven. For those of you that don't know, yesterday I talked about I was gonna eat spaghetti and I was gonna put barbecue sauce on it. Criminal could not have been inside the temple after all. So I did, and I put barbecue sauce on my spaghetti. And my spaghetti turned very, not very brown, but it soaked into the noodles and turned it brown, and I ate it. And it was kind of dry and sticky and barbecuey. And it felt kind of weird after I ate it, but it wasn't bad necessarily. Now, I would never eat it again because it was kind of strong, but I was kind of worried that after I finished it, I was gonna regret it a couple hours later. But I didn't. It was a perfectly acceptable dinner. I was gonna post it on Twitter, but I barely used any barbecue sauce anyway. So it didn't, like, some of you probably thought I was gonna glob it on top of it, like actual salsa, but no, I just kind of soaked it into the noodles. Sakuya is the Scarlet Devil Mansion is currently acting like the police force. So Sakuya is the head detective. So that's why she's currently here, and Patchy is the prosecutor. So the SDM is responsible for that portion of this game, and I'm the defense attorney because why not? The criminal could not have been inside the temple after all. There were many officers on ground here. That does seem obvious. Scarlet Police, yeah. This is the third game in the series, so everything's basically been established at this point. That'd be the natural conclusion. Hearing this, my subordinate and I rushed to the site of the explosion. Would chili be good on spaghetti noodles? I don't remember the last time I had chili. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. That doesn't sound awful, but I have a feeling you wouldn't be able to put anything else on it, and this is coming from the guy who put barbecue sauce on his spaghetti, so, you know, live and let die, or give it a shot, I suppose. It's hard to fuck up spaghetti, apparently. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. That, again, I will never do that again. I only did it because I wanted spaghetti and I didn't have any sauce. And again, wasn't terrible, but that is not a meal. I will not make that a real meal ever again. Next time it's mustard. Just how far was the explosion site? It should have been a 30-second run. Should have been. Sakuya, it's pointless to try and hide it. They serve chili on spaghetti. That'll be warm at least, I guess. Put them beans on it. Good job. Good job, buddy. It's pointless to try and hide it. Oh. Witness, you should not hide anything from the court. Please testify openly. Yes, I fell down. You fell? I lost my cool being suddenly thrust into action, so while running to the scene, I slipped and fell. I heard the other maids helped her up and she hobbled to the scene holding her knee. You didn't have to go into detail. That's... what should I say? Sounds like you had a hard time. I knew it would turn out like this. Well, it seems like it took some time for you to get to the site of the explosion. The fact she had to nurse her knee suggests as much, in which case it would have also taken a little while to return to the priest's quarters. Please don't analyze my shame with a straight face. That's not something you see often. A bashful Sakuya. Right? I wish I could take a picture. Hold on a moment. Witness, you can manipulate time, can you not? Could you have not stopped time while you moved? I had lost my composure at the time, and it completely slipped my mind. Well, she had just taken a fall, hadn't she? That's understandable. I'm sure it was a perfect and elegant fall. Seeing that hole, a bad feeling came over me, and I rushed back to Miss Patchley's side, but it was too late. Honey officers, that's good. That's a good one. What kind of bad feeling? Imagine you're just going about your day and then a fucking Lloyd shows up. Mayumi's there and she's got 2 Lloyds with her and just like book them. And they just waddle over to you and cuff you. Take it into that. Reminded me of the A&T robbery from last year, and sure enough, when I returned, I found Miss Patchley unconscious and the grimoire was gone. They got the little police caps too, yeah, but that's the only other detail on them, is the little police caps. They're just, otherwise they're just perfectly normal Haniwa. The other incident turned out much the same way. The criminal's modus operandi is abundantly clear what this means. Anyone else know that incident? Anyone who knew of that incident could have mimicked that trick. Such as the defendant, or yourself. The cloud of suspicion around the defendant is getting even thicker, it seems. There's nothing I can do. Well, at least the police didn't see Alice at the time of the incident, right? That's our only saving grace at this point. If we can prove it wasn't Alice somehow, for now let's press her all we can and learn all we can. So I'm assuming what that means is because I pressed new information, now I double press. Now I double press. Let's see. You sure of that? Yep. April 30th. That was time. Target. Proudly announced one crime. Making Alice cry. Alice is not impudent. Okay. Tell us there are 3 maids. Several of 3 is the same, as far as words are concerned. You're correct. What about Remilia? Remilia, nope. Didn't end there, perhaps. Just gonna let it slide. There was an explosion. Certain there was 1 minute before. 1 minute, give or take 2 seconds. Yep. Explosion. Remember it correctly. Blah, 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 blah. Order. Contrary to the trick the defendant has used before and it failed, you'd think to try the same thing again, that's impossible. Possible, couldn't there be a reason? Couldn't that be the reason? What are you talking about? It'd be absurd for them to try it again. But, in any case... Alright. Maids on the patrol were uninjured, but a large hole was blasted in the enclosing wall. Patrolling near the hole somewhere, but fortunately no one was hurt. Happened a while over there. It's good to hear. Silver lining in this dark cloud. The hole in the wall makes me think a little of that case. We believe a doll was planted outside the wall that caused the explosion. You mean outside the outer wall? Criminal could not have been inside the temple after all. It's probably the photo. Okay. Oh shit, whoops. Okay, yeah, it's probably the photo of it. Because there's absolutely no remains of a doll in the photo. So, it's probably that. So she probably wanted me to press to reveal the extra bit of testimony. And not just double press everything. Although I am not a fan of the double press movement, that's for sure. Double pressing's always kind of annoying. Alright, hearing versus the site of the explosion. Where is it? We believe it was a doll planted. Okay, so picture of the big hole. There we go. Sakuya, there's one hole in your testimony. You can guess what it is, right? Copium's on Better Twitch TV. You need that one. That's also how you see the dancing emotes. What is that supposed to mean? I'm referring to the hole. The literal hole in the wall. I have a picture of it right here. Quite a large hole indeed. You say there's something wrong with it. Yes, it's quite glaring. Then please show us, defense. How does this picture conflict with the testimony? It's right here. But this is mere rubble. Yes, this mere rubble is the problem. I do not understand. And let me explain. According to Sakuya's testimony, the culprit blew up the wall from the outside. But then that rubble would have been blasted towards the temple. Ah. But the rubble in this picture was blown outwards. So it appears. That would mean the explosive was not outside the wall, but inside. Impossible. I didn't even pick up on that. I thought it's because there was no residue of an explosion. But then how did the culprit do this? That's right. We were all on guard inside the temple. The culprit could not have placed a bomb on our watch. You're right, Sakuya. Huh? The police came to Myoden Temple in force, so a bomb could not have been placed inside. And yet, as this picture shows, that is exactly what happened. So this explosion was no mere distraction, because the criminal had already infiltrated the temple. But how? And with the police at the scene. Patchouli, you were the one in charge of this operation, weren't you? If someone suspicious had been spotted placing a bomb at the wall, you would surely have been told. In fact, if anyone that did not belong in Myoden Temple was seen, it would have been reported to you. Miss Patchouli. Well, prosecution, did you receive any such report? I did not. But, in that case, please stay calm, Your Honor. Just now, everything came together. What does that mean? Sakuya, present the remaining evidence. It should clear up this mystery. Yes, of course. Please have a look at this. These are maid clothes. One of our uniforms found shortly after the incident. Miss Patchouli and I discovered it in the brush. Then the culprit, presumably they wore this and masqueraded as a maid, blended in with the scene. Aren't fairies, like, super easy to distinguish between? Wait a minute, how would Alice even get one of the Scarlet Devil Mansion's maid uniforms? It is not unthinkable. We have plenty of spares, and the other maids do not keep particularly good track of them. Anyone familiar with the mansion could probably get one. Seriously? The maid uniform was stashed away in the court record. The uniform of the Scarlet Devil Maids and police officers found by Patchouli and Sakuya in the brush behind Myoden Temple at the night of the incident. However, that doesn't mean Alice ever wore this. Yep, that's the updated autopsy report right there. Every first cross-examination of a Phoenix Wright case, it extends a branch, and then when you grab it, it lets go and then slaps you across the face. Every one of them. When I inspected the uniform, I discovered further evidence. What might it be? The suspect's perfume was found in one of the pockets. When I examined its contents, I found it had been laced with the spores of the trader's cat mushroom, a powerful soporific. What was that? Laced perfume? That sweet scent I smelled when I was attacked. It was most likely this perfume. Alice's perfume was carefully placed in the court record. Found by Patchouli in one of the maid's uniform pockets. The perfume Alice makes herself. Traces of soporific spores of the trader's cat mushroom were found in it. Order, it seems the defendant must have been the one wearing this uniform. I disagree, Your Honor. What do you mean? This was obviously a carefully planned crime, so don't you think it's strange that evidence that would be so clearly identify a culprit was left at the scene? Anyone could have a moment of carelessness. Alice had made it away from the scene, so she may have relaxed her guard. But why leave this uniform behind at all? Walking around in maid clothes would have drawn undue attention, anywhere but within the temple. She would have had to take her off her disguise at some point. I have a simpler, neater explanation. Which is... As I said, it's simple. Someone tried to frame Alice using these clothes. Well, the options here was to either leave in the maid outfit or go streaking. Which one of those two do you think Alice is going to do? Don't answer that, chat. A frame-up. Your go-to excuse. Well, am I wrong? Remember why Alice was arrested in the first place. The day after the crime, she was seen with a stolen grimoire in hand. And she was turned into a child by the power of that grimoire. And this grimoire was found in my house. Yes, these 3 facts. But on the other hand, these 3 facts are all there is. I feel they are more than enough. But what if they were all fabrications? What if they were all lies? The Alice seen with the grimoire was someone in disguise, letting themselves be seen with the book on purpose. The culprit had disguised themselves as a maid, so why not disguise themselves as Alice too? That person could have forcibly transformed Alice using the rejuvenating magic of the grimoire. And the grimoire discovered in Alice's house, it could have been placed in there after the incident. By someone else, right? As I've said earlier, claims this vague have no place in court. I am only presenting a possibility, since the case against Alice is based entirely on circumstantial evidence. But with such plentiful evidence, it would be absurd not to suspect her. At the very least, that perfume is hers. And that's a problem. Why would she have used something so incriminating? Why don't we turn things around, as you love to do? Alice brought suspicion on herself deliberately. That's ridiculous. Because she'd be so unrecognizable turned into a child. Her old self would bear her crime and disappear. That would have been the end of it. If that were true, she wouldn't parade about how she's Alice. Actually, there's a fatal contradiction in that theory. Oh, is there? Interesting. Then show us. I want proof of that contradiction. This is my proof! Yes, this evidence is contradictory. Yes, as I said. Yes, it contradicts your claims. No, it's probably Alice's profile. How could I pick at random to fail me? Defense has no rebuttal? No, I do. I'm gonna rebuttal it right now. Alice is now claiming that... Patches is claiming that Alice deliberately brought suspicion on herself, but that doesn't make any sense. Here's the proof. It would be her herself, right? What? How could picking at random fail me? No, I thought I had the right idea there. Defense has no rebuttal. Patchy is claiming Alice deliberately brought suspicion on herself, but that doesn't make any sense, and here's why. Wow, I'm not doing it right now. This is the proof. I am not doing it. The calling card? Remember what Patchy Lee claimed about this calling card. I don't. Oh. Alright. You would naturally think so, wouldn't you? That is why Alice sent the calling card to divert suspicion away from herself. Oh, right, yeah, she said that. She is considered a recluse who avoids standing out, not the kind of person you expect to announce her crimes. You said Alice used that calling card to hide her guilt, so it wouldn't make sense for her to leave that perfume behind. It would seem improbable, but the odds are not 0. The odds aren't even close to 5%. That's enough. It appears that this testimony alone will not suffice to confirm the defendant's guilt. I understand. Then allow me to summon the decisive witness. Oh, it's rat time. They may take the stand. Yeah. Oh, there she is. Rat. She's pretty big. She's pretty big. Giant rat. Witness, your name and occupation, please. The name's Nazarin. I don't know if you call it an occupation, but I'm good at finding lost items. A talent you used to find the grimoire after the incident. Look at them rods. Yep, but the thief got away from me, so I couldn't get it back. Even so, we tracked down the grimoire thanks to the witness's report and arrested the defendant. I see. And please testify as to what you saw. I don't mind. Gotta make sure anybody who steals from the temple gets properly punished. The hunt for the grimoire. Security got left to the police before the burglary, so I wasn't at the scene. Honestly, if they can't catch one thief with dozens of cops there, then I can't trust them. So I went searching for the grimoire by myself this morning. And that was when I found Alice holding it near the Forest of Magic. Chat, she's got the one little canine. I love that. I tried to capture her myself, but she got away, so I had to let the police know. We went to her place to arrest her some 20 minutes later. I understand you saw the defendant, but it is true that we failed in our duty that night, so I'll ask that you please overlook the witness's attitude. Well, if the prosecution will permit it, then so will I. Somehow it feels like the mood here is getting worse. It's going to be hard to make it through this one. The defense may begin their cross-examination. Understood. She doesn't sound like she's lying, but this is nothing to what Alice told us. I have to find an explanation somehow. The ends of her rod are supposed to be N, S, and W, E. Yes, that is correct. That is not here on her design right now. Tell me about the burglary. These were Patchoulie's instructions. Yep, the one behind that other bench. She said to leave guard in the temple to the police. I was opposed to it, but Her Holiness agreed, so we all waited in a separate room. So you didn't see any part of the incident proper. That's right, we didn't see a thing because of the police. Concerning this, I apologize. The grimoire was recovered in the end, so all is well, I suppose. Her Holiness said that the same thing. Sheesh, she's way too kind. Now, can you please continue your testimony? Honestly, if they can't catch one thief with dozens of cops, then I can't trust them. Were there this many police maids on guard? Yeah, all those people, and they couldn't catch a single rat. Is that sarcasm? I can't tell. It feels more like self-depreciation, doesn't it? Hey, you two, no chattering while I'm talking. Let us move on. I like Nazarin's sass. She is a coward, but she does have an attitude. And you did this all on your own. What's so weird about that? I find what others have lost, it's what I do. Hopes, dreams, grimoires, if you lost them, I can find them. That's the whole reason I'm here. Do you find hopes and dreams as often as you find grimoires? I'm a bit envious. When you're dowsing, every day is an adventure. Finding treasures always brings some joy into your life. I know chasing after dreams is nice and all, but we should focus on reality right now. And that was when I found Alice holding it, near the Forest of Magic. Had you met Alice before this? Of course. She does puppet shows in the village, and she passes by the temple sometimes. Say, I think that was all started with Her Holiness when she said she wanted to see her dolls up close. That must have been when she first saw Byakuren's grimoire. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Since they're both magicians, it looks like they got along well. So Her Holiness talked to Alice about her grimoire and even showed it to her. But then Alice went and betrayed her trust. This story is taking a really bad turn. What do I do? Change the subject, move along sharply. Could you move on with your testimony? Sure, maybe that's for the best. I tried to capture Alice myself, but she got away, so I had to let the police know. You say you tried to capture her, but what did you do concretely? Well, we can't fight things out with spell cards right now, so I just tackled her to the ground. But she still escaped? I guess I was pretty careless too. She bonked me in the head with the grimoire as hard as she could. And after she got away from that, you went to the police. Yep. We went to her place to arrest her some 20 minutes later. She got bonked. That would be the time between when you saw Alice and when you went to her house. Yeah, that's about right. Let me make this clear. 20 minutes passed between me running into Alice and the police entering her house. So it took some time. I got hit in the head when I tried to get her, made me get a bit dizzy. Took me a little while to get my bearings. If Alice's story is true, then the testimony is wrong. But even then, Nazarin doesn't seem to be lying. So how do we make sense of it? It's, oh shit. An imposter! And imposters always lead to one thing, contradictions with the real thing. So then let's press her hard and find out more. Shit. Alright, well I need to press on, where was it? I think it was this one. I need to get to the choice again and I changed the subject. It was this one. You can't just put in a bunch of letters like that because I can decipher the word in like seconds. It took me seconds. So we met Alice before, and when you saw her this morning, was anything different about her? No, not particularly. She looked the same as she usually does, except she was holding Her Holiness's grimoire. The witness is well acquainted with the defendant, so there should not be any doubt. What do I do? Is this important at all? It is, because she shouldn't be a tall lady right now. Your Honor, this is a very important remark. I demand it be added to testimony. If you truly believe so, then very well. Witness, correct your testimony. Gotcha. I saw Alice holding the grimoire near the forest. She looked the same as usual, so there's no doubt. Mouse, are you okay? There you go. My mouse doesn't want me to rat on the rat. Here we go. Oh. I thought that was gonna work. Maybe I have to, can I present profiles? I haven't actually tried that yet. Okay, you can. There you go. That's a little bit strange, Nazarin. I know what I saw. If I'm looking for something, I find it. Oh, I don't doubt you found Byakuren's stolen grimoire like you set out to do. Would you stop showing these? Sorry. But I assumed if I showed her that I could be like, yeah, she's too small. She was small at that point. I never had to present profiles. Didn't you present profiles last case? Yes, but never during a cross-examination. It was always in a moment after it. I never had to present it to move a cross-examination along. Also, you could present profiles in every game so far, but there was never a point to it ever until this game. I don't know why. The problem is with what you weren't expecting to find, Alice. A problem, you say. Nazarin testified very clearly just now that when she had that encounter with Alice, she looked the same as usual. But today's Alice is nothing like usual. What? When you saw her, Alice should have looked like a child. Hey, wait! That can't be right! After being seen by the witness, the defendant fled, and she turned herself into a child afterwards, then everything else makes sense. But the problem with that would be the time that passed between the sighting and the arrest. According to Nazarin's testimony, it was 20 minutes. If Alice had been a child for less than 20 minutes, we'd have a new issue on our hands. What issue? Didn't you think it was odd? By using the spell of rejuvenation, Alice became a child, but that would not make her clothes smaller. That is true. So how is it the defendant has clothing to wear? Because after she was turned into a child, she rushed home to make new clothes for herself. And that took her 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Therefore, if you had arrested Alice 20 minutes after her transformation, she'd be on trial in the nude. Order. While I wish the defendant had chosen their words more carefully, their argument does stand.
Thank you.
Does it really? It's only a desperate excuse. Yeah, we're coming up to it. What's that supposed to mean? From the beginning, Alice intended to steal Byakuren's grimoire and rejuvenate herself, and in that case, she'd prepared clothes beforehand, clothes that would fit a child. And that story about spending 40 minutes sewing? A lie made up by the defendant. Order. Aya, you have to counterattack here. Whoa, suddenly Patchy's theme? But Alice's word just isn't enough. What if it was Alice's last word? Then it would be strong enough. Still, we can't afford to doubt Alice here. So we have to break down Patchy Lee's claim somehow. We gotta show Alice didn't prepare in advance. Oh, I wonder how you do that. Prepare. Ah, if you're gonna say something, now's the time. It's too bad, Patchy Lee, but Alice did not prepare that outfit beforehand. You seem quite certain. I hope that means you have proof of your claims. Of course I do. This is proof Alice did not prepare the clothes ahead of time. Sorry, Alice. Oh, the theme's over. I was liking that theme. Have a good look. Defense? Isn't this... death? Keep your filth to yourself. We are in a sacred court of law. No. This is important evidence. Listen, right now Alice isn't... Ah, hold it! Objection! Defendant, you have not been given leave to speak. Excuse me, but what are you doing? Why would you show an entire courtroom my panties? Defendant, this is your underwear. No, it's, please calm down, Alice. This is all to prove your innocence. Are you insane? Well, when you wave them around like this, it's hard to disagree with her. Anyway, with the body of a child, Alice would need panties to fit for a child. Had she prepared clothes in advance, she would also have prepared underwear. If she had, Alice would be wearing panties right now. Order! In other words, right now, Alice... Aya! What is wrong with you? Defendant, about your attorney's claims. I deny them entirely. No, you can't do that. If you deny it, you play into the prosecution's hands. This is sexual harassment. I'll sue you. I'll take you to court. Can we please focus on the theft that you are in court for right now? Ugh, I had to do it, but it still feels bad. It seems we will need to clear up this matter to progress. Komachi, take the defendant to a private room and carry out an inspection. I'm on it. Come on, little lady. Hey, let go of me. Alright, Komachi's gonna get the details. So what is the result of your investigation? Well, she wasn't wearing any panties. I see. And where is the defendant now? She was, pretty upset, so I left her in the other room. It's probably best if she doesn't come back to the court until things calm down. Yes, I agree. Let us continue the proceedings in the meantime. So, I think this confirms Alice could not have prepared her clothes in advance. Sadly, missing undergarments are not proof of anything. The matter is her clothes. Obviously, she'd have also prepared underwear. That is, if she were transformed of her own volition. As of now, both scenarios seem equally plausible. Then we will make absolutely certain that with the defendant the witness encountered. Indeed, witness, please testify in detail with the person you saw. Yeah, okay. The Alice I saw looked the same as always. Her clothes, her hair, her boots, even her headband, everything was like usual. Guess the only strange thing was that she didn't have a doll with her. And that's everything I saw. Nothing significant has changed. Why would it? I told you everything I knew from the beginning. The one that witness saw was definitely the defendant. You should all understand this by now. In any case, defense, you may cross-examine. Yes. There was never any problem with her testimony, but there's one thing I'm worried about now. Let's try to wring more info out of her. The Alice I saw looked the same as always. So she looked exactly the same as usual, you're sure? How many times are you gonna make me repeat myself? It was Alice I saw. If you were as familiar with her as you say you are, I cannot imagine you made a mistake. I still think it must have been an imposter. Oh. the real Alice would have been a child then. She wouldn't have any clothes to wear otherwise. That is, if Alice told us the truth. Her clothes, her hair, her boots, even her headband. Everything was like normal. So, she was wearing her usual outfit and her usual hairstyle. Yep, couldn't have mistaken her for anyone else. But the Alice she saw must have been a fake. The real Alice had fainted earlier and turned into a child. The imposter would have had a chance to steal some of her clothes then. But who could it have been? I guess the only strange thing was that she didn't have her doll with her. So the Alice you saw didn't have a doll. Well, no. I know what you intend to say, but this is not nearly enough to suggest it was an imposter. There could be many examples of that doll's absence. Not even Alice has a doll with her at every moment. I agree. This does not seem particularly strange. I guess they're right. And that's everything I saw. So that's all. That's what I said. She's never acted evasive like this before. Press harder. Poke her. Nazarin, that's not everything you saw, is it? What are you talking about? There's nothing else. Defense, you are not to badger the witness. I was only asking the witness a question. If I was wrong, she wouldn't be afraid to tell me. If she's this shaken, then there must be more to it. I must agree with the defense. Witness, was there truly nothing else? It's your fault that I remembered it. Hey, what did I do? It's because you made all this ruckus about panties. Oh no. I would not call it a ruckus exactly. I saw Alice's panties. Oh no. Huh? When I tackled Alice to get the grimoire back, we both fell to the ground, and that's when I saw some really striking black panties. Then Alice panicked and slammed the book down on my head. See. Black panties. Your Honor, I demand that statement be added to the testimony. This has nothing to do with the incident. Keep your underwear fixation out of this court. At this rate, you'll be branded a pervert. This is extremely important information, so please add it to your testimony. If the defense believes these panties are significant, then I will allow it. But if you are asking for the sake of your predilections, I will penalize you harshly. Never mind, you've already been branded a pervert. I'm only doing what I have to. I saw Alice's black panties too. Alright, well, obviously, the color's wrong, but I gotta get the most content out of this as possible, huh? You saw them. Black panties. Yeah, I can't get them out of my head thanks to you. You're welcome. I don't think that's what she meant. Nazarin's testimony hasn't actually changed at all. Looks like it didn't. Looks like it. I didn't think she'd lied to begin with. The only one Nazarin saw was a fake Alice, right? Better question is, how do we prove it was a fake? Well, something about them would have been different from the real thing. And how, it's up to us to find it. How is she different from the real Alice? I can't believe I have to present this twice. The person Nazarin saw might not have been Alice. There's no way. I'm sure. Well, then maybe this'll change your mind, Nazarin. The Snow White panties Alice wore that day. What? How do you even know that? This morning, after she was turned into a child, Alice refitted the clothes she'd been wearing. But she didn't have time to get to work on those panties, and they were left behind on her table. And these were the panties you stole. Yes. Wait, no, I didn't steal them. This is evidence. This isn't proof she wore these this morning. Shit, I didn't read that. I thought that was done. Then I demand we ask the defendant to confirm. Mr. Attorney, please get a hold of yourself. How long are you going to keep up this farce? There is no doubt that the culprit who had the grimoire wore black panties. We only have to make another search of Alice's house and see if these panties belong to her. That would be pointless. Such evidence would certainly have been destroyed. Really now, so you two consider these panties to be evidence? They are not evidence! That is enough. I will not allow you to disrupt this hearing any further. I'm afraid I must reject the defendant's evidence. Your Honor, it is true that all the evidence against the defendant is circumstantial. But conversely, that evidence is quite extensive. Furthermore, we have witness testimony. Your sole rebuttal is the color of the defendant's underwear. That is clearly not sufficient. But there's no doubt that the colors are different. The color of the underwear the defendant was wearing cannot be proven. Obviously, or do you have a collection of pictures to show us? Ugh. Aya, isn't there anything you can do? No, there's nothing you can do, Miss Attorney. There is no other suspect than Alice. A suspect other than Alice. Aya. At this point, we just have to take a shot in the dark. After all, the evidence against Alice is circumstantial and there are flaws in the witness testimony. Are you telling me to accuse someone randomly? So I just have to expose them now and prove it later. Then that there was the true culprit. Your Honor, the defense would like to call a witness of their own. By that you mean a suspect other than the defendant. Yes. Then please make yourself clear. Of course, I will have to penalize you if you simply throw out a name at random. I understand. The true culprit must have been a magician because they stole to use the magical grimoire. And when you think of stealing books, there's only one name that comes to mind. Then let me ask you, who will be calling as a defendant, as a witness? My ever-dependable assistant, she even has spell cards of her own now. But they can't be used while the court system is active. That's true, and double spoiler, she has her own spell cards. The prosecutor in charge of the case bring me with confidence. She even came all the way to the office to force Alice's defense on me. The defendant this time, she was turned to a child by magic, and then she was arrested for stealing Byakuren's grimoire. Guess she's a pretty unlucky magician. The de facto chief of police, but it seems she's not taking part in the investigation or doing anything in particular this time. The victim in this case seems almost impossibly good-natured, but it looks like she's become quite well beloved in Gensokyo. The so-called black and white magician who never seems to sit still in one place. People may call her the black white, but I don't think they're talking about her bloomers. As ever, the Yama who sees everything in black and white is the judge. However, you should not take this to mean that she wears black and or white underwear. Aya, are you okay? The Scarlet Devil Station's perfect and elegant maid detective, while maybe calling her perfect is a bit much. A dowsing mouse as yokai associated with Myoden Temple. If something gets lost, it's her duty to find it, and so she went on the hunt for the stolen grimoire. The Shinigami's always slacking off. She's been made the court bailiff. I wonder if she likes it more than her usual job. Oh, whoops. Wrong button, wrong button, wrong button. It's Marisa Kirisame. Why her of all people? Our culprit is a magician, there's no doubt about that. And if you consider it was a grimoire that was stolen, then you should understand. Her rap sheet for theft is longer than anyone's. What does the prosecution think? I must admit I had considered it myself, so I will consent to calling her as a witness. Then let us end the hearing here for today. The prosecution shall make preparations to call Marisa Kirisame as the witness tomorrow. As you wish. Court is hereby adjourned. May 1st, 1552. First, Gensokyo Court Defendant Lobby. Is it going to be alright? Accusing Marisa like this? It's fine. Everything against Alice is circumstantial, so it can all be bent to point at just about anyone. But that's... I'm not gonna frame someone innocent, obviously. We'll make sure the real culprit is the one who pays. You, don't act like you can't hear me. Alice? But what happened? What you've done, you mean? I mean, now that I've been disgraced in front of everyone, I will accept nothing less than an acquittal. If I am found guilty, then it will all have been for nothing. I promise I'll do my best. I expect more than that. You will surpass yourself. Of course. But we've shaken the case against you, at least. We'll definitely prove your innocence tomorrow. And there will be no more surprises like this one. Naturally. In that case, I'll be counting on you tomorrow as well, Miss Attorney. There you go. And that's the stopping point. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh God, you gotta listen to the whole thing again anyway! There you go. Aya, good morning. Hello, Aya. Gotta save the game, gotta save the game, gotta save the game. The intermission is over. Excellent. Back to the title screen. All right. So, that took basically 2 hours anyway. I didn't expect that. I thought it would take less, so I did more time for puppet dance. And then it ended up going to 10:40. Cool. Very good. But yeah, weird case. It's putting it mildly, huh? So I guess next time I play this, I'll finish it, assuming there's only one court and one case day left. But also at the same time, the court and the investigation days, they're usually quicker the second time around. So I might be able to, even if there's 2 extra investigations, or there's 2 investigations, 2 court days, I can probably finish it all next time. I will give it a shot. I don't even know if it's a 4th case or not or anything like that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. That was something. Yes. Very much so. I cannot wait to see how it concludes. Truly.